participants, to Shruti and all the people around. So I'm happy to make a presentation on role of glazing in green building. I'm V. Suresh, the chairman of the Indian Green Building Council, and we are doing this for the Glass Academy. And we would like to build upon this presentation on this theme. Yeah. We'd like to cover the following areas: the green building movement in India and the green buildings and the benefits, role of glazing in green buildings, and selection of the high performance glazing. These are the areas we want to touch upon in this presentation, and let's proceed accordingly. The green building movement in India, we are the IGBC, the Indian Green Building Council, greening India since 2001. We are part of the Confederation of Indian Industries. Formed in 2001 by CII, and the vision of the IGBC, short form, or the Indian Green Building Council, is to enable sustainable built environment for all, and India to be one of the global leaders in sustainable built environment by 2025. Incidentally, we are the first green building certification body in India. Subsequently, many other green building certification bodies came way over the next few years' time period. There's some problem. We are actually based in the CII Sorabji Godrej Green Building Center, the first, this is IGBC headquarters, the first platinum rated green building in India way back in 2003. And I'm happy that besides being the first platinum rated green building, we are also gone over the few years since as the first net zero energy building. As you would see from the next visual, you can have a look at that. So, and that is the, that is the CII Godrej GBC, now a net zero energy platinum building, to demonstrate and showcase the viability of net zero energy building. The same project, which was in 2001 that we built up, that now by 2020 we have become a net zero energy building, as well with the additional features brought into the building. Also part of the World Green Building Council, which is a global network of the green building councils from over 70 countries. We have 193 countries all over the world, 70 countries of green building councils. And IGBC is part of the World Green Building Council as founding member since 2004. And IGBC is the only council from India representing India at the World Green Building Council. So it's a great working together with the World Green Building Council of getting the world's best practice of what other green building councils are doing, what India is doing. They're equally happy to share our experience for other green building councils. We also learn some of the initiatives in other parts of the world as well. Yeah. Started with a small one project, which I just told you, of the first green building in 2001, our 20,000 square feet, the Green Business Center. We have come a very long way over the last 20 years time period. And today, when I'm talking to you, we are about 7.8 billion square feet. The latest figure is 7.83 billion square feet already achieved. That means 783 crore square feet of green buildings is what we have done for all types of asset class of building, be it commercial building, residential building, educational building, industrial building, office building, logistics parks, retail spaces, including built environment covering hill stations as well as cities and urban mobility regarding the metros and railway stations, airports, leading airports, including townships. So green building is on one side, green built environment on the other side. So we are an organization which covers all this area in the last 20 years time period. As I said, having achieved this level now, we are literally number 3 now in the world for the largest green footprint. And our aspiration is to become number 1 by achieving 10 billion square feet by the year 2022. That's about 1,000 crore square feet of green footprint. That's what we are working on. How do we do that? We have got the IGBC green rating systems now to cover all the asset class of buildings as well as the built environment sector. Now, this is important because many rating systems, international as well as within the national area, they cover broadly about 5 to 6 rating system covering few buildings and use the same rating system for all asset class of building. We feel in IGBC that it's not the right way to do because each building has got different levels of energy consumption, different levels of water consumption, different levels of waste generation, and other parameters involved in that. And therefore, we have identified the 28 IGBC green rating systems there on date. As a matter of fact, the 29th was just done last week of the super fast train system that mobility stations to be done as well. So commercial buildings can be for the green new buildings, green as well as for the existing buildings to be converted, as well as green interiors, green data centers, and we also got for the under the commercial one for net zero energy, net zero water, IGBC green resorts, and IGBC green service buildings. Just in one category. Residential, we got 3 category. One of the very important portfolio to cover IGBC green home, covering the middle income and high income, IGBC green residential society for the existing apartments and societies which are already done by resident welfare societies and other bodies, and so that how to convert an existing building to a green building if having missed the bus at an earlier point of time. The latest to add is the IGBC green affordable housing to take at the bottom of the pyramid for the weakest section in the low income and the lower middle income category. So housing alone is a very major area. I talked about 7.8 billion square feet, of which the residential component is about 2.2 billion or 220 crore square feet of about 17 lakhs of residential buildings are covered under the IGBC residential rating. Transit, I just now indicated, we cover metro stations, all the 600 metro stations of the country, as well as one for the existing green metros and green railway stations has also been added in this particular area. Built environment covers a large amount of areas of green campus, green cities, existing cities. Why I'm telling you existing, because you can have new cities to cover under which is greenfield project, existing cities come under the brownfield project. Green villages, green townships, green landscape, and green hill cities as well. Education for school buildings as well as the places of worship. Industrial building is for factories as well as green SEZ, and the latest one is the green logistics and warehousing park. The first one to do on the health and well-being area, we got a separate rating of hospitals, which no other rating agencies have. IGBC Green Healthcare Facilities Project and IGBC Healthy Buildings for the Occupants, which is called the well-being one. In short, we cover all aspects of where you work, where you play, where you relax. All those aspects are covered in a large way. And our that's it. Where you live, learn, work, play, transit, and worship, all are covered through the green building rating system. Thank you for bringing back. Well, all our standards are based on baselines. The National Building Code of India is one of the most important documents we derive inspiration from, and that contains, as you're all aware, the part 11, which is the approach to sustainability. I hope you know that after the whole world got into the Sustainable Development Goal to the year 2030, India was the first one to come through the National Building Code Part 11 on approach to sustainability. The Energy Conservation Building Code, latest one, of course, is the 2017 version, including the Eco-Niva Samhita and the Renewable Energy Certificate Formation, MOU, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Guidelines to deal with the EIA approvals, Uniform Plumbing Code, Central Groundwater Board Guidelines, and Central Pollution Control Board guidelines are all equally important one. And since you're talking of glazing, National Building Code, I mentioned, has also the new chapter in the Part 6 structural design on approach structural glazing. The first code in the world again to cover that. So that should be of interest to all of your participants who are in the glazing sector. And our work is also uh, recognized by all the state governments and central government, and the type of approvals for the rating of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the Ministry of Industry and Commerce and the Make in India program, and all the development authorities of Jaipur Development Authority, Rajasthan government, Punjab Urban Development Authority, Greater Noida, as well as SIDBI as an institution for the industrial projects, as well as the other institutions which are there. All the state governments have given the green buildings the incentive to give an additional floor space index or floor area ratio ranging from 5% to 15%. For example, Rajasthan gives about 15% for a platinum building, 10% for a gold building, and 5% for a silver building. Some other states bring it a uniform 10% value. That is, if you go green, you're saving on all those natural resources in a large way. They're ready to give you additional incentive to go for that. It's good. They also include that as part of the green building regulations, also as part of the building regulations of those states and cities to deal with the green building aspects as well. Yeah, our green building by definition is a building in which conserving all the natural resources in a large way, using less water, optimizing energy efficiency, generates less waste, and provides for the healthier spaces. In short, integrated water management, energy management, waste management, carbon footprint reduction, and improving the quality of life of the people is the most important component that covers in all the green building by design. And how do you compare that with the conventional building? To start with, external appearance, both will look alike, but in building use, both are same. But difference is in the operational savings from day one, conserving the natural resources in a very important manner, the human comfort and productivity in indoor environment between a conventional building and a green building. So you can understand the reasons why people are going for the green building. It's not for nothing that 7.8 billion square feet of buildings are already gone under green. Is because of the benefits which come under this category. And this will cover large number of tangible benefits, reducing the operating costs of the building, optimize life cycle economic performance, covering the capital cost as well as the operating cost, which will bring in sustained savings in a very large way. Energy saving to the extent of 40 to 50%, that's phenomenal. 40 to 50% energy saving is a phenomenal aspect. And water saving to the extent of 20 to 30%. And plus the overall quality of life of the occupants of the building, equally an important aspect. Intangible are much larger. The environmental benefits, reduce the impact on the environment, health and safety benefits, enhance occupants' comfort, improve productivity of the occupants in the workplaces. We have seen those buildings which are green rated over there, many IT parks and office spaces. As a result of the quality of life inside the particular building over there, you could still find the productivity of at least 15 to 20% increasing. In the hospitals, the healthcare improvement also has been substantially enhanced in a large way. And then more importantly, we are in line with the world-class standards and procedures. Also because of the tie-up that we got the World Green Building Councils to learn from each other in this particular one. So the baselines on each one of them are of a very high order. And that will bring us to the main topic that we are discussing on the issue on the role of glazing in green buildings. And I think I would like to look at it from the point of view of the five major elements in respect of bringing in daylight, the type of views that we get, acoustical performance, energy performance, and renewable energy related issue. So these are the areas we would like to talk upon. And let's see each of the slides one by one. I think it's an important thing. Glazing as an important part of the building. And what is important to mindfulness is where do you use it, what type of glass to use, and how much to use, where, etc., are equally important. And in this, the energy efficiency codes of ECBC and ASHRAE, as well as the Indian contribution of ISHRAE, are equally important. And the recommended maximum use of 40% use for glazing for the lighting is coming. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that that will be the one value, but these are some of the recommendations there. And from that particular point of view, let's get on to the glazing side. The high glazing will be the tremendous daylighting that we're going to use that. So heat ingress will be large there. So therefore, we need to balance. So we want the light in, but not the heat in. We don't want the glare to come inside. So therefore, high performance glass and glazing, when you use that, we are thinking into the low U value, low shading coefficient, and high VLT, or visual light transmittance. So all these are very, very important areas when you look at the glass as a glazing as a material. On all these parameters will keep on coming to us when we select the right material. Let's see how it works on one by one. On the daylighting aspect, number one, which I talked about. Yes. So if you see that the top area, that's a daylighting pane that we have, and the external shading also comes at some particular point, and then you have the view fans on the other side where you get the shaded lighting coming on that. So all the three are there in the same component, and as you see, some of them, the interior views are very, very clear without any light being put over there. You can see in the workspace, each one of the work area, how the lighting is coming on the, and this is in our own Godrej, CIA Godrej GBC Green Building Center in Hyderabad is where we got that. And when you go down to industrial buildings, you can see how this is enhanced in a much larger way. In the factory building, many of the factory buildings are also IGBC rated, reduced lighting energy consumption through efficient use of skylight. As you can see, the whole area is lit as if you get the solar energy is harnessed so well to the appropriate glazing that we brought in over there. The light has been brought in over there, and reduced lighting energy consumption through efficient use of the skylight has been brought in. And this is equally applicable to institutional buildings as well. You would see that in the very next slide of how interior spaces can achieve the through the skylights that we have. The plan is available. This is the Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, and we are able to skylight coming in the atrium area as well as in the other room spaces that you can see. Good visual daylighting aspect without any strain to the eye. And this is the most important aspect of interior spaces achieving daylight through the skylight in the atrium. And the second one, of course, is the vision or the view. It connects people to the environment. And this is a very important aspect. Glass really brings a very, very major issue of the link. You can imagine the whole thing claustrophobic inside a room or space there. You're not able to get a nice vision or a view on that. And this makes a big difference in all the buildings over there. And therefore, the designers, the architects, the interior people, all of them use glass in a very effective way for connecting people and the environment. As you can see, interior spaces, exterior spaces, all those areas are all connected through this particular beautiful link that you can see. So view is a very, very important aspect which enhances the overall quality. And the third one, of course, I said is the acoustics component. And there is a very important thing on noise control. 66% drop in performance when exposed to distracting noise of the vehicular traffic outside, the background chatter. And if you really use double and triple glazed windows, insulated walls, trees in the periphery, reduces sound levels by 30 to 40 decibels. This is a very significant aspect you may like to keep in view, and we consider this as an important aspect. Then, of course, this is the most important component: glazing and energy performance. High performance glazing, equivalent to transfer brick wall, allows daylight but not the heat, reduces artificial lighting energy consumption during the day because you got the daylight there. And north lighting also ensures a diffuse daylight and no glare and reduce heat ingress. And this is an important component of the glazing and the energy performance aspects. Let's get into it in a little more detail, and you will see how this is done. Attributes of green glazing. Now, thermal performance of the green glazing, it significantly affects the overall energy performance of the building. So if you see the heat transfer coefficient by U value, around 1.7 to 2.5 watts per meter squared K is the one. Solar heat gain coefficient, we can bring it on a very good value between 0.1 to 0.4. Optimum visual light transmission, VLT, also optimal level, and high thermal insulation, which is very important. So if you look at the particular visual over there, that clearly indicates the heat gain coefficient is completely left out because it reflects back the whole one, and therefore it doesn't go directly, and therefore the all that we get into the particular building is the right level of thing, and the heat loss is also taken care of. The heat gain coefficients are rightly brought in, so you have the least amount of it. So a small low E coating is also there, an argon in gap there, and the clear glass available. So if you see the assembly, it gives you a very nice visual impact of how the performance can be there for the green glazing in a large way. So that's why you use the glazing itself is called the green glazing. You put the label also for that because of all these components well covered, the U value, solar heat gain coefficient, as well as the optical visual light transmission aspect as well. And if we go one step further for the high performance glass, and that particular thing will cover a typical office building, say conditioned area, air conditioned area, 20,000 square feet, window to wall ratio of 40%. We reasonably would like to keep it between 40 to about 60% level. If it was a conventional glass that you would have done, the solar heat gain coefficient would have been 0.5 and the U value about 4.5 watts per meter squared per K. Whereas by the Green Pro certified glass, high performance glass, the same solar heat gain coefficient can come down to as low value as 0.3 and the U value coming down to as low as 1.9 watts per meter squared. That's a very great information for you. What happens to a normal plain glass and the Green Pro certified glass, which is a high performance glass in a large way. So we have tried to identify how the air conditioning load can come down from 26% from a convention. The same air conditioning system, which can around 104, if you there put a 114 ton air conditioner for the 20,000 square feet, you can put a reduced one. Because of the nature of glass that we have put over there, you are able to get the cooling load coming down. Similarly, annual building energy consumption also coming down by about 14% from what it was over about 4 lakhs to about 3.5 lakhs kilowatt hour. So reduction in the capital cost will come, and also operating energy cost of the HVAC system comes directly. So if you see that whole thing of the high performance glass between the outside and the inside value over there, you are able to get what are the things reflected out the solar one, and the free solar light is all that we are coming. The internal heat which is cooled, we are maintaining the particular one over there, and as a result of the glass assembly, we are able to get the good performance coming in the whole assembly. Equally important in this sector is the dynamic we are getting a thermochromic dynamic glass with the morning and the afternoon, how the glass can optimize daylight and reduce the heat ingress based on the ambient climatic conditions, how the changes can happen between the morning, afternoon, and evening. Some of those aspects are in the assembly. That section will give you the right idea of how the laminate that we have in the glass, then the outside, the spaces there, low E-grade coating, all these put together will give the right level of benefit between the clear heat strengthened glass there and substitutive interlayer, and also clear tinted heat strengthened glass also available. So this is, when you do that, you are trying to indicate different aspects. Negative aspects is cut out and the positive aspects only come inside over there. So this is optimizing the daylight and reduce heat ingress based on the ambient climatic conditions, as I very briefly indicated. So these are very, very important aspects in the glass application level. And therefore, we make analysis of that, very important analysis. These are all done for all the buildings which are there earlier with plain glass and other related glass there. Daylight and energy simulation analysis is a very important work which we all do for every building there, and a typical floor plan with isolex contours that is also indicated the type of the temperature gain that comes into the particular thing. It also helps the project team to select the right glass for optimizing daylight and reduce heat ingress. It's important. The nature of glass that we select over there is an equally important component. It's not you just come and buy some thickness of glass, but even within that, I indicated those minute aspects and facets on the performance enhancers in each of the nature of glass is an important one. We should be able to appreciate that particular thing. I'm sure our consultants who deal with the nature of glass to be bought will be able to give that idea in a large way. I told about renewable energy and daylight also as a lost component. The fifth area which I talked about was also an important component, and therefore that is covered through solar panels on the southern side and the north light roofing coming over there, and the you can use the panels to be put over there for the renewable energy to be generated. Many buildings are now going to the extent of 5%, 10%, 20% of the normal grid energy being replaced by the solar energy. So that also is this is for Godrej one project in Mumbai, done recently, very successful project. And now there is also a very new initiative which is coming, which I call as a BIPV, which can see is a step going further, where the glazing and is a building integrated photovoltaics in facades of the buildings there, wherein allows daylight while generating power. You're integrating the photovoltaics along with the glazing. We are not coming to it in India in a big way. The world is catching up. China in particular is doing this in a very large way. And when you deal with the selection of high performance glazing, and what is important is a type 1 eco label by CI in India. This is a Green Pro rating that we have. It assesses how green is the product. It builds on the life cycle approach on par with international standards. It's also aligned with the global eco labeling network. It end users of the building sector to choose sustainable products, materials, and technologies, and all performance parameters of glass are tested and then do the labeling in a large way between the raw material, manufacture, production, use, including disposal. So you can see the whole circle life cycle being covered over there. So Green Pro rating covers all this, and that's where it helps the users in a big way. Once you go for a rating of that nature, it's easy for you. The selection of the glass also becomes an easier one, because you are getting a third-party certification to that extent in a large way. Well, having said broadly about the green building aspect, about the importance of glazing, as well as what are all the benefits which you get out of different types of glass, etc., I would like to sum it up broadly to cover the area as the green buildings, excellent opportunity to reduce operating costs from day one, a sense of pride, a contribution to society, and glass is good, need to balance daylight and heat, and therefore, more importantly, use the right type of the glass that you select, and eco-label glass, and different glass combinations that we have, different performance levels, as I said, the solar heat gain coefficient, the U value, as well as the transmission levels, etc., etc. So it's very necessary that the users, the architects, the interior designers, as well as the consultants dealing with that, should be able to give the right level of guidance for the users to get the real final impact on the nature of glass use, and where to put, and what type to put, and how to install that, what type of glazing is going to float to the ceiling. or a little limited area, or all those aspects are an important component which will work towards the overall performance of inside the building, and to give the good quality of life for the people inside, the occupants inside, the patients in a hospital, the office working people in an office area, or in an IT park where a large number of people are working together, or industrial workers in the factory production area. The idea is that, yeah, I think we are coming to the close. We can come to the last one. The message is to go green in a large way. And in that particular process of going for green, there are various initiatives done. We are not talked of the various things on integrated water management, energy management, waste management, etc. We are touched, particularly because of your topic is going to be on the role of glazing to be done. We have tried to open out on that for the present presentation. Otherwise, for each of the rating system, we would like you to kindly go through all the parameters that are there, contributing a 100-point rating system on how do you deal with the green building rating. Green building rating is an integrated multidisciplinary process where the contribution of the architects, the civil engineers, the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, firefighting, the building material specialist people, all those people contribute together for achieving the green building rating to finally to rate a building as a platinum building with about 80 marks or 100 coming, or a gold rating of 70 or 100 coming, or a silver rating of 60 or 100 coming, and 50 and above will be a certified building. Anything lower than that we don't cover. So therefore, at each one of them, when you do that, differential levels of performance will come for each one of those levels over there, because all the factors they would not have done introduced. That's why you get some silver, some gold, some platinum, because they used to be so much of the component. If you want some additional enhanced rating, you got to enhance with some more additional component to be done either on the water saving or energy saving, or waste management efficiency, or reduction of the carbon footprint, etc., etc. I think I'll stop at this time. Shruti, I'm sure you must have had some idea. Since your topic is on the glazing, we had to necessarily keep at that. We would have opened out if it was allowed for a larger presentation to cover all phases of the green building certification.
So thank you so much for taking us through this very informative presentation. Yes, keeping in view the role of glazing itself. Before we close, I have a few questions that I would like to ask you. So with a number of designers, owners, and proprietors of buildings and spaces now opting for green ratings, do you see a shift in the focus in the building construction methodology itself?
Of course, there is a need for shift in focus. We ourselves come a long way over the last 20 years' time, learning new products, new materials. Yeah, I think there will be a lot of change in this. Today, the focus is shifting. The shift has been happening. Today, the shift is towards net zero and health and well-being. The first shift happened somewhere in 2000, 2005, 2006, etc., wherein during the initial days, green building movement, from conventional methodology, we started shifting. Resource efficiency was the most important component, occupants' comfort. But now we are getting into net zero energy and health and well-being as the next major component of the whole green building assessment. Wellness and health and well-being is important component. And focus on net zero, we have to deepen the measures related to net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste, and net zero carbon. And glass has a significant role to play, according to me, depending upon the measures related to net zero energy and net zero carbon. For example, if you want daylighting to be harnessed in a very large way and use less and less of the other energy, who else can help you other than the glass that can come in over there to harness the Surya Bhagavan in the best possible way to give the light energy? And to the extent we need the particular one for the renewable energy, we use them also. Similarly, in the building design also, substantial changes have happened. You remember I showed you one slide where the with glass over there, same air conditioned space, how the energy efficiency comes over there in a large way. And in addition to that, you will be very happy to know that the technology has undergone a lot of changes in a large way, and for example, if we had done the daylighting component of the building in appropriate use of glazing in the type of building, this can contribute to improving acoustics as well as other contributing factors for enhancing the well-being of the occupants of the building. Therefore, when I say changes will happen, and increasingly people are going for green, and that's an important one. If we took about to the direct question of yours, if it took around let's say around 12 years time to achieve the 1 billion square feet of green footprint, and the next 1 more billion, 2 billion took another about 2 years time. But in the last 2 years time, we achieved the 7.8 billion, and we'll get into, as I said, about 10 billion. So you can see the pace at which the green building is coming is substantially getting larger. And with India's building footprint enhancing in a large way, in spite of the COVID breakdown the last year and the current year, some little tempo being reduced in the overall building, but on the green building side, it has not registered in reduction. And we ourselves feel that India will improve, enhance from the present overall level of 5 to 6% of the building going green. I would believe that this will go to at least about 30 to 35% of all buildings going green, because you already have a regulatory framework coming. The green building become part of the regulations there. Incentives are also coming in this direction, and people are able to see not only from the supply side but also from the demand side. Both the users are seeing real value by going green in a large way. And therefore, the answer is that there is a clear change of shift in the focus. Obviously, it has come only because of uh, the technologies and the materials and various things which has also brought enhanced value. What was not there about 20 years back has started coming now in the last around few years time period.
So yeah, well, we are optimistic that this trend continues, and we also design buildings that are
Yeah.
green. What areas, according to you, would still need improvement in terms of design in green buildings?
Uh, Nice question. Every aspect of green building has potential for improvement. It's very important. And as I said, this is the interactive area wherein the contribution by the architects, the designers, the MEPF consultants all have to contribute in that. Technological changes are continuous and improving day by day. What we can improve is envelope design. Very important is envelope design. Most of it glazing coming in the particular picture, and this is an area where resource efficiency, indoor environment quality can be further improved. Possibly an area where the glazing sector can interact with the architects and interior designers in trying to give the efficient envelope design is an important component, and the nature of various types of glass, gradations of glass, with combinations of it, which can help improve the overall performance. And green buildings are demonstrating these changes already. You already done that. In addition to that, energy efficiency is also coming through other options. You remember air conditioning, I made a mention a little earlier on that. We used to do, maybe I'm sure, as a thumb rule, if you want to put in a room of 100 to 150 square, you say, okay, 1 ton air condition lagaiye. That's the way you used to do even now do that. But can you believe that over the last few years time period, it has come down to most of the good IT parks and office spaces, it has come to 550 to 600 square feet per ton of air conditioning. And recently, Infosys have also gone, and other good companies who are also very green conscious companies has gone 750 to even 1,000 square feet per ton of air conditioning. Imagine the how much amount of tonnage of air conditioning can come down by energy saving. So what I mean to say is it will be a combination coming of all the critical utility services that comes into the building on that, and in each one of the what latest technology they're adopting for either energy saving or water saving. And of course, in the overall built environment or the enclosed spaces coming, the product like glazing will also play an important role in that particular direction.
Continuing with the same glazing context, you have mentioned that the use of VIPVs on the facade for many of the buildings. So why is it that we don't see much innovation on this in this context in our country? as
Oh,
of now.
okay. Oh, you picked on one of them. Okay, wonderful. Okay. BAPV can act as a glazing and also help in generating additional power. Now it's a two-in-one area. It's a matter of trying to do. One way is to put glazing and then you put the photovoltaics. Integrated photovoltaics have become very popular in European countries, as well as Israel has taken a big lead. China has taken a big lead here. Well, BAPV may not pay back if you take retrofit measures, but if you consider them by design and take the differential cost, the BAPV can become attractive. So BAPV can also support the buildings to move towards net zero energy. And net zero energy is going to catch up in a very large. That's a new rating coming over, and wherein the increased use of photovoltaics, and increased photovoltaic cannot come only through the roof level of photovoltaic. You also have to use the wall surface, in which case it can come. As I said, world over, this gaining momentum. India also, this will pick up shortly, but on the face of it, we don't have the production levels available at this point of time. But there are moves where China is moving ahead in manufacturing in fact, there are glazing companies are moving towards BAPV to integrate this particular thing. So these are indications. I'm sure one of these days this will also start catching up a few years from now, where the glazing industry itself might get into renewable energy as a combination aspect as well. So yeah, it's a win-win if they are able to go about. Otherwise, we'll have to go to the present option of doing two separately.
Right. So on behalf of Glass Academy and all of us here at Ethos, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this topic
Yeah,
today with us.
I think
Thank you.
the small glitches in the to all the participants who are seeing this presentation there. Any information that you may like to have, or any of the IGBC rating system that we have, which I said is 29 in number, as well as about all aspects of the Green Pro as a product certification issue and other related thing, will be most happy to respond to your queries. Kindly write to us and share it on our email. Thank you so much.